Yes, thank you, staff. So I just want to be clear. We're actually voting on rezoning this from light industrial to residential.
Thank you. So it's actually two different zoning districts currently. It has a current PD zoning on it as well as light industrial. So the council action would be a rezone to a new PD zoning RMPD.
Okay, so I mean, this is not my main problem with this deal. This deal has been the only deal I've ever actually voted against. I've voted in favor of every single housing project since I've been in office. This first came to us as a temporary project with 100 something, and Barry Swenson came up and told us that he can get four times as many units for a quarter of the cost at the time. So he was talking something closer to 400 units at a quarter of the cost that we were discussing spending on it back then. I got numbers today from you that challenged my logic. I asked you how much the full cost all in per square foot on this development was. And I'm trying to look up your email, but I recall it was $2,500 per square foot. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, so the cost is, we ran the numbers, so it's $600,000 per unit is what the funding will come to be, or the full development cost. So if you divide that by square footage and everything, it comes to around a $2,500 number. And so I just want to also explain that what happens is the cost of development includes preparing the site. So the site has, over time, it was originally agricultural land, and then it was used for storage parking at some period of time. But really, right now, what it is just plain land. So essentially, what that cost does include is pulling utilities to the entire site, putting in a road that doesn't exist, and setting up the storm water drainage portion of the site. So again, I understand that the costs seem heavy, and I recognize that. I would say that it is in line with the other development costs that we're looking at for other new development. It is very consistent with that, and I think it's just a acknowledgement of the fact that creating new housing in San Jose is costly, and I think that this is just an example of that. But it is also something that we're very aware of, and we're really trying to incentivize everyone to be thinking about how to do development in a way that can keep those costs under control. So, well,
I'm going to give you some shocking. The $2,500 per square foot was extremely shocking to me, because if you look at a brand new development that's happening in my district for detached homes, about 2,400 square foot, brand new, just open for purchase, is about $667 a square foot is what they're, if you divide the square feet. If you look at the Silvery Towers downtown that's being constructed, they are going to be selling their units at $1,000 a square foot. So a full $1,500 per square foot less than these units. Why isn't the department just looking at buying levels of Silvery Towers? You know, it's not finished yet, but why can't we just, this seems exorbitant for recycled metal boxes, quite frankly, that are, and so that's my main concern. I think it's mind-boggling how much the difference is between what the city spends on construction and what the public sector spends on construction and the public sector is making a profit. And so, and we're charging them all kinds of fees. So this is the kind of thing that I know I don't have any hair on today, but if I did, I'd pull the rest of it out. I mean, I'm finding it very hard to pull the trigger for a yes vote on this just because the cost is so big. Is there anything that you could say to convince me that this is, I mean, this is, to me, this is not the right thing to do with our money. It's not that this location isn't a good location for housing or housing homeless people or housing of any kind. I'm okay with changing the zoning from industrial, which is something that we don't want to, we have like discouraged zoning changes in industrial. It's almost a taboo to change zonings, as you know. I'm willing to overlook that. I really am. But I'm having a hard time justifying $2,500 a square foot.
Well, I think I understand your concern, and I do want to just say that tonight's action is really about the land use and about the zoning, and so I understand that it feels all mixed together. We are going to be coming back in February for the funding of the project, and that's really more, I think we can spend some time digging into this, getting more information about the cost, and we can provide that to you, and we can really try and address some of those concerns at the decision where we're making the financial investment into the project. So I think that we have some time to just provide more information and help understand the context.
Well, I think here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to support the current motion, but I'm not going to support the project unless you can convince me that this is the way to go. I know that the city needs housing, and I've voted for every single low-income housing since I've been in office. But when I first started, we were talking about $500 to $600 per square foot, and I can't get it through my head to vote for something for $2,500 a square foot. I just can't. I think it might be much cheaper just to buy the stuff already done and be done with it, and people would be living, amongst us, amongst everyone else. Those are my insights. There's one other question. Are you counting the cost of the entire 6 acres and dividing it by 60? I don't know how you got to this number, which is one of my biggest problems. Are you taking the entire cost of the project and dividing it by 61 units and then dividing it by 240 square feet?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so you're counting in the cost of a new library and the community garden?
It doesn't include the cost of the library, specific to the library and the garden, but preparing the entire site. Do you know what I'm saying? Like the improvements for the library and the community garden are not included in the development cost of the project. However, preparing the site, the road, and all the infrastructure is tied to the housing.
So I'll look for a breakdown from you.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, thank you.